With single heart, one with the way, all ego-centered strivings cease. The word ego means different things in different systems of psychology. In the context of Buddhism, ego means the sense or feeling or belief that one exists separately or independently at some level. Since Buddhist practice emerges from the insight into dependent origination as primal reality, Buddhism views ego in the sense of separation as the primal delusion. In the Western systems of psychology, ego tends to mean a cluster of functions that have to do with continuity, memory, planning, and purpose. Because we tend to think of ego from this perspective, when we hear that spiritual practice puts an end to ego, we tend to wonder if this means the end of our personality, our ability to plan, remember, and have a purpose. The end of ego as sense of separation does not imply the end of personality. Deeply enlightened people have their personality intact and clearly have the ability to make plans. Paradoxically, the dissolving of the sense of separation actually smooths the functioning of those abilities that we normally think of as ego, such as memory and planning. This happens because as long as we operate from the idea of separation and individuation, we cut ourselves off from the sources which enrich our personality. To make an analogy, if the body thought of itself as separate and somehow could function from that sense of separation, it would quickly run out of food and clothing. Both food and clothing flow to us as gifts from others. Even if we grow our own food and weave our own clothes, the skills of growing and weaving we learned from others. The body cannot exist in a separated condition. That does not mean, however, that the body does not exist. Clearly, different people have different bodies. Similarly, for the personality, which manifests as dependent upon others for its ideas, images, words, means of communication such as language, etc. But this does not mean that the personality does not exist any more than the dependence of the body upon others means that the body does not exist. It means that both exist dependently, not separately. But what about our feeling of continuity? In a world of constant change, in a view of primal process, how does continuity appear? We definitely have a sense of continuity from day to day in terms of our own personality. I think of myself as the same person as yesterday. Same in the sense that an arc of activity I began yesterday with a phone call comes to completion this afternoon. If we think of continuity in this way, as arcs of activity or praxis, then continuity and change do not contradict each other. Continuity means a form of change. Thus, the falling away of ego in the sense of a feeling of separation, and the dissolving of ego in the sense of a feeling of a static underlying ground to the personality, does not mean the end of the functioning of me and you in the world. The dissolving of a static self into arcs of practice means personality as movement and personality as functioning in the world. All ego-centered strivings cease because the wisdom of the heart now functions fully. The wisdom of the heart manifests as gratitude. Gratitude means the sense of connectedness. When we sense this connectedness with all things, separation vanishes. When separation vanishes, the activity of our personality manifests as the activity of compassion. Having transcended being, we can now move freely through the realms, guided by gratitude for all of existence.